My name's Aaron, welcome back to my channel. How are you? I'm fantastic and trying to hide this bottle. So once a week I pick a fragrance, I actually buy it out my own money, and a full-size bottle, because these are fragrances that have been very, very important. They have sort of signalled the way or have been very important, and once I smell them I'm expecting memories to be triggered. So these are sort of, I'd imagine, sort of a little bit more in depth and a little bit more interesting, especially for me. So today's fragrance is J-Lo Glow. So this is £20 for 100 ml. The notes are neroli, pink grapefruit, rose, sandalwood, amber, musk, jasmine, iris and vanilla. When I did all my GCSEs and A-levels, I went to the London College of Fashion and I studied cosmetic chemistry. And we did 1 year of perfumery. We used to have perfumers who used to come along. We used to learn the basics of it. We used to build perfumes, so it was quite basic what we learned, but that sort of instilled sort of basic formulation knowledge. And I had lots of perfumery books, so I actually have a lot of perfumery books, like how to build basic formulations, all that sort of stuff. So I still got them now. And interestingly, last night I've been struggling with Chris's formulation, because you'll understand when we'll go through the whole story when this thing's over, and I think he said about 10, maybe a bit more submissions, but this one I think I got right, and I actually went back to and did a lot of studying last night. I'm 99% sure I've got his finished fragrance, but working for another person, you know, he's sort of directing me, and all the rest of it, it is sort of like, it is quite taxing, because I know what I want it to smell like, but he may not like it, so I hope tomorrow, but I think it is phenomenal. Anyway, so I had to go back into my books and sort of read about top notes and supporting top notes and all that sort of stuff, and then yes, all the rest of it. But there was this lovely perfumer who came to university who taught us perfumery, and I think he was called Peter, and he'd been in the industry for a long time, and he used to bring me in lots and lots of aroma chemicals, and I used to sit after university and I used to build stuff, and a lot of it was a load of shit, but I absolutely loved it, and the buzz I got from just building it is still what I get to this day. Now this had just come out. It is a very, very clean formulation, and apparently she went to the perfumist and said, I want something to smell like this soap. That's in America, so she wanted to smell a freshly cleaned, soapy skin. If I remember rightly, they sort of struggled. There wasn't anything like this before, because they wanted that sort of feel to it. And I remember really loving it, because as I said to you before, I had maybe 1 or 2 fragrances. I bought 1 fragrance at a time. I didn't have hundreds of these things, and so I'd never smelled anything like this, and I'd never really smelled women's fragrances, and I really, really love this, because it's sort of clean, soft and powdery. Do we have our fragrance samples? Are we engaged with our higher self? Let's get testing. This feels really wet. There's a lot of humectants in this. Humectants are things which bind to the skin. Yes, absolutely. In cosmetics, to help bind moisture to the skin, you have things like glycerin, you have things like hyaluronic acid. All these sort of things are used, but sometimes they're put into this sort of perfume, but I wouldn't understand why, to be honest. It is still quite wet. So this is absolutely built on white floral, masses and masses of white floral compounds. It's a very floral, dry compound. Absolutely has that sort of Lyral in. Lyral is the white floral compound flickering through it. Actually, it's sort of built on that massively. The top notes are benzyl salicylate, and benzyl salicylate is a really fabulous raw material, and it's quite sweet, quite floral, and it can be used to enhance male fragrances by giving a sort of a sweetness to it, and it can be pushed into women's fragrances to give a floral feel. I'm actually tasting it. The ionones are giving a lily feel, so the combination of ionones and Lyral is giving a lily feel. So this has a definite lily feel. They've added some raw materials to give a sort of a dewy feel. So this is utilising a compound called jasmolactone. And jasmolactone, in combination with hedione, gives a very dewy, jasmine-y, dew on a leaf sort of feel. You can combine it in lots and lots of different ways. There's absolutely in this. This is vanillin to give sort of sweetness, and there's a slight powdery feel. It has one of these synthetic sandaled aroma chemicals, probably sandal, one of those to give very soft wood feel, but not sandalwood. The benzoates and eugenols help to give it a sort of a slightly oriental feel. And this is nerolin. And nerol is a synthetic part of the neroli family, but it sort of smells of, it doesn't really smell of neroli actually, but it is part of what's in neroli. There are some compounds that give a powdery feel. This also has masses and massive aldehydes in. So this is like a peachy aldehyde, and the powderiness is from something called vanillaldehyde. And when you combine that with vanillin and tonicate or X, oh gosh, it begins with E, this must be with E, this is in this, you get a very powdery, baby powdery sort of feel. A little bit of sort of amber raw materials in there. It is projecting actually really strong, which is quite amazing actually for sort of like something which is sitting so close to the skin. This smells exactly the same. I'm not getting any sort of shivering or any sort of tingling. It sort of feels a little bit noxious actually. I don't really like it. It just smells like powder, and it just smells really, really synthetic. At the time I loved it, and of course I'm getting all the memories of being in London College of Fashion on the 5th floor next to my friends. Yes, and so I'm getting that and getting the time that was in London, and I loved that course. I thought it was really fabulous. I excelled in it, but I went on to do my chemistry degree because I wanted to do some hardcore organic chemistry. I love this sort of organic chemistry molecules. I love that very, very much. So I love that course. I'm just getting flashes of my time in London. I used to live in Hall's residence in Tooting Bec, and I went back when I went down to London. I met Stephen and Chris and Monica when I was there, and I was around all these lovely people. Next day I went to Tooting Bec. All the way through my degree I was always working, so I worked and I did a full-time degree. And I came home and looked after my dogs, all that sort of stuff. So I'm always working. I don't feel happy unless I'm working, unless I'm doing something. A bit of workaholic, you see. And I walked past the hairdressers, and that had been knocked down. It's completely different. It's such a long time ago. And then I walked up to the Halls of Residence and I had a look, and that was really weird. So I'm sort of, this reminds me of all of that, my time in London. I also had terrible eating disorder in London because I was around lots of body conscious gay people, and I was eating once every 2 days and just eating half a chicken. So and I got down to such a tiny body that it really wasn't healthy, and it took years to get over that body dysmorphia. Absolutely awful. So that I'm reminded as well just how noxious gay society can be actually, that you have to fit into a stereotype. And that's why I don't really have much to do with, unfortunately, that sort of society, because it is still very focused on body image, and that is not very healthy for someone who does have a predisposition to sort of fixating upon sort of diet and exercise. And I really don't want to get that. I'm really healthy at the moment. I have a really healthy balance of eating really healthily and having chocolate. I love chocolate. And exercising once a day, but not going crazy with it. And in London as well, like most of the gay people, I was doing a lot of anabolic steroids as well. So I was f***ing my head up and my body up and all the rest of it. This reminds me of how fantastic my first year at university was, and I loved it. And I loved the degree, and I loved the group of girls that I was with. Of course I was with girls. The group of girls I was with, I absolutely loved. And I just really loved the time there. But the negative side actually was dealing with sort of living in London and being friends with sort of quite toxic gay people. And that's when I was at the height of doing sort of all my illegal drug taking. So this sort of is when my real mental health kicked off, when it just went really crazy. I had body dysmorphia, and I was doing sort of illegal drugs and anxiety and depression and self-harming. So very, very unhealthy time for me. And it's taken a very long time to get back to being very healthy and feeling very safe for myself. I don't like this at all actually, so I'm going to use it as I don't know, a car freshener, I think. Technically, I think it's painting by numbers. This is how it feels like. It feels a little bit like a computer-generated car freshener. I think it's alright. It's obviously very brilliant, so I'm going to mark it a 4 out of 4. I think it's very technical because there's things in there that I'm not really picking up, hidden sort of notes. The price, oh gosh, it's a 2 out of 2. It's phenomenal. Do I like it? Actually, I don't like it. But I love some of the memories and I hate some of the memories. It just makes me realise how unwell I was mentally and how far I've come. So I'm going to sit it on a 5 because I think it smells just very smells fluffy and a floral, and I can't wait to get it off my skin actually. But yes, with the memories, half the memories I'm going to give it a 7 and the other half I'm going to give it a 5. So you can sort of see where I'm going to go. There you go. I hope you're staying safe and well. Actual thumbs up, subscribe and all that bull for more interesting, fascinating content, and I'll see you soon for a fragrance review.